Hello and welcome. This is my 2020 Kent Ridgeland. I bought it from Wal-Mart last year for $98, and I have just been having all kinds of fun with it until it turned cold here in Maine and started snowing. But before I put her up, the last couple of rides, I noticed that the steering was a little off, I guess you might say. Wasn't bad, but it wasn't like it should have been. Now, I mention this because, generally speaking, when I buy a bike, whether it's new or used, I check everything that needs to be greased to make sure that it has been. And for some reason, I just never got around to doing it with this bike, and I think it's well past time to have a look at the headset bearings. The wheels feel fine, as does the bottom bracket, so I'm not too worried about those at the moment. I may just have a preemptive look at them later, but not this time. So, to do this, here's my little helper. This is Mama Cat Elliot. She used to be feral. Then a couple of years ago, she burgled the house and stayed. And for a formerly feral feline, she's turned out to be a real little cuddle bug, and not as good of a helper as she appears to think she is. At any rate, getting back to the subject at hand, all you really need for this little foray into the world of bicycle maintenance is a 6mm hex wrench, an adjustable wrench, a 15mm wrench and socket for removing the wheel, and some grease. And that's all you really need. The first step is to release the front brakes. Once you've done that, just take your wrenches and loosen the wheels for removal. And keep in mind, with a lot of these bolt-on wheels, they have these little legal tabs that you have to take out before the wheel will drop. Not a big deal. So the next step is to take your 6mm hex key, loosen the bolt that holds the whole stem into the headset, and remove the stem and the handlebars as a unit and set them aside, because you don't really need to do anything else to them. Next, you want to take your large adjustable wrench and remove the large locking nut at the top of the headset. Once you've done this, you're ready to remove the locking nut. Now, I would normally be using a large set of channel lock pliers. Do you think I could find the darn things because I wanted them today? No. So I used a pipe wrench. It's not the most sophisticated tool that I own, and it's certainly not the one I would have chosen for this, but hey, it worked, and that's what counts at the end of the day. So as it turned out, the bearings did not have an awful lot of lubrication on them. My guess would be that from the factory, there might have been a little bit of very light oil or really skimpy application of grease, but it did not last, and that's why the steering started to feel off to me. So I took my marine grease and I packed the upper and the lower bearings really well before I reinstalled the fork. After that, it's just a simple matter of putting all the nuts back on in the proper order, and hopefully you paid attention to that when you took it apart, and then tightening them down. I usually do this by hand first, and then I would use, if I had them, my channel locks. In this instance, of course, I'm using the pipe wrench again. Basically, what you want to do is tighten it up enough that the fork can rotate freely, but not so loose that the whole shebang rattles around inside the head tube. And once you've hit that sweet spot, lock it down and you're good to go. After applying a light coat of grease to the quill stem, to prevent corrosion and seizing down the road, because trust me, working on a seized stem is a pain in the hindmost. I reinstalled it and just tightened it back down with the 6mm hex key, and that's all there is to it. And since the headset bearings were so poorly lubricated, I think sometime in the not too distant future I'm going to have a look at the wheel bearings and the bottom bracket, just in case. Below left is a link to the playlist for the Ridgeland. Below right is another link to a video that I think you'll enjoy. If you haven't already subscribed, I would encourage you to do so. And please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. It does help. And as always, thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate that when you do. Goodbye and have a great day.